Good morning, everybody, and I hope you are excited for the upcoming NFL season because I have three season-long NFL futures bets for you guys to lock in. All three of them are going to be season-long player props, and because I'm not boring, all three of them are going to be overs. So if you are not already, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm going to have a ton of stuff coming out before the season, during the season. So make sure to subscribe and turn those notifications on. And then for this specific video, if you could like and comment, that helps me out a ton. I also have a membership option for my YouTube channel as well. So if you're interested in becoming a Jedi in training, go ahead and check that out. Very first link, both in the description of the video as well as the pinned comment. But as I mentioned, I got three season-long NFL player props to lock in. Real quick, before I get into it, just keep in mind that the money that you are putting on these player prop totals, these futures, is going to be tied up in your FanDuel account for the entire year. So make sure that the amount that you're putting on it, A, you're doing it responsibly, and B, is something that you can live without having in your FanDuel account for the next couple of months. Obviously, I'm sure that seemed obvious for some people, but just one PSA, something to keep in mind. But let's get into it. So the first one that we're going to go ahead and lock in here is Devonte Smith over 925.5 receiving yards. This is at FanDuel. All three of these are going to be at FanDuel. Now, I know that you're going to call me a homer for picking an Eagles player to go over, but here's the thing. Smith hit this with ease last year. He had 1,196 receiving yards. So you're telling me he's going to have over 200 fewer yards than he had last year. Now, keep in mind, this last year was Smith's second year in the NFL, so you're presuming that he's going to get even better. And last year was a year in which the Eagles were winning pretty much every single game, so they really didn't need to pass that much, and especially in the second half of games. One of my favorite NFL futures props that I already had a video about is Jalen Hurts over passing yards. And the same logic for liking Smith applies to why I liked Hurts as well. The Eagles led in 13 of 15 games that Hurts started last year. He was injured. He missed 2 games, but in 13 of 15 of Hurts' starts, they were leading at halftime. In 7 of those 15, they had a double-digit lead at halftime. So because of that, Hurts was among one of the lowest passing attempts of all quarterbacks in the second half specifically. That's unlikely to happen again just because of how healthy they were, how easy their schedule was, and all that stuff. So the Eagles are probably going to have to pass more. Not probably, it's almost a guaranteed that they're going to have to pass more. Now, the reason why this is so low is because Smith isn't even the best receiver on the Eagles roster. That would be A.J. Brown. But he is more likely to lead the team in receptions than A.J. Brown is. They both played 17 games last year. Smith had 95 receptions. A.J. Brown had 88. A.J. Brown is more of a deep threat and a red zone target, and Devonte Smith is more of a possession receiver. So because of that, his yards per catch is going to be lower, but he is probably going to have more receptions. I also think that between the two, Devonte Smith is more likely to be able to stay healthy for an entire season. Like I mentioned that they both played 17 games last year. That is unlikely for a player like A.J. Brown. He's very physical. He gets a lot of contact. So he missed time each of the previous 2 years, taking out last year. And last year was kind of an outlier. He's always dealing with some sort of nagging injury just because of how physical he plays. Now, I'm certainly not hoping, obviously, that anybody gets hurt on any team, but I think if you're just assigning probabilities, it's more likely than not that A.J. Brown goes down, and if he does, then Smith immediately becomes the bona fide number one. He's probably going to get a ton of targets regardless. And again, he hit it last year. He came 9 yards short his rookie year. I see no reason why Devonte Smith couldn't continue to have another 1,000-yard season. Cashing this over for us as our first play. Our next one, we're going to have, our last two are going to be quarterback props. Our first one is going to be Patrick Mahomes over 35.5 passing touchdowns. So Mahomes has hit this in literally every single year of his career, except for his second year in 2019 when he missed about a month due to a knee injury. But his touchdown passes by year, he's had 50, 26, 38, 37, and 41. So he's hit this in 4 out of 5 years, and the only year that he missed, again, he missed time. If there was ever a year that you would have thought Mahomes would have a down year, it probably would have been last year. They traded Tyreek Hill, and they really didn't do much to replace him at receiver. They kind of got by with a bunch of randos at receiver, with Juju Smith-Schuster being the best of them. But even he just had kind of a fine year. Instead, they won the Super Bowl and he had 41 passing touchdowns. This year, they again have a bunch of random receivers, and then they obviously have Travis Kelce at tight end, but they still have Andy Reid as their head coach. He is one of the most pass-happy play callers in the NFL. When they get to the 1-yard line, they're more likely to throw than to pass. They're one of only few teams that can say that. They're also, you never have to worry about them doing a QB sneak, because when Mahomes got hurt a couple years ago, that was on a QB sneak. So even if they get to the 1, a shovel pass, that counts as a passing touchdown. All that stuff, a screen pass, that counts as a passing touchdown. So with Andy Reid, you know they're going to pass a ton. They have the 5th hardest schedule in the NFL, according to Sharp Football Analysis. So you assume that they're not going to have like an Eagles year last year, where they're just constantly blowing everybody out. And even if they were, the AFC is such a gauntlet that they're probably going to have to be playing until week 18 if they want to get the number 1 seed, between the Chiefs, the Bengals, the Bills, even some lesser teams that could surprise, like the Jaguars, the Chargers, the Ravens. Even people are high on the Browns. They're going to need to play all 17 games. They're going to need to pass a lot, and they're probably going to pass a lot even if they don't need to, because of Andy Reid. So what's going to happen here is that Mahomes is going to pass a ton. The Chiefs are going to score a ton of touchdowns. Majority of those are going to come through the air, and he's probably going to get 36 or more passing touchdowns. So that is our Mahomes prop. And our last one for this specific video is Joe Burrow to go over 4,300 passing yards. I absolutely love this one. He's hit this in each of the past 2 years. And both years, there were factors in which you would have understood why he didn't hit it. 2 years ago, he was coming off of that absolutely devastating knee injury, right? He hurt his knee 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he was coming off of that. He did not have a full offseason program. He still passed for over 4,600 passing yards. Last year, the Bengals missed a game when they had their game get canceled against the Bills because of the whole tragic Damar Hamlin incident. So even with that, even with missing one game, he still had the 5th most passing attempts total in the NFL. Every quarterback above him played all 17 games. And if you look at just a per game basis, last year he averaged the 2nd most passing yards per game. And when you have a receiving core with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Tyler Boyd, PFF for the 2nd year in a row gave them the number 1 receiving team in the NFL. They're going to pass a ton. They made some upgrades on their offensive line, so they went from entering last year, PFF had them as the 5th worst offensive line in the NFL. They had them ranked 28th. This year, thanks to signing their left tackle Orlando Brown, they moved Jonah Williams to right tackle, and then they're just getting healthier in general. You assume that their offensive line is going to be better than it was last year, which again isn't saying a lot because they were horrible. And the Bengals division has the potential to be one of the hardest in the NFL, with the Ravens, who are probably going to be good, Steelers, who are literally never bad, and the Browns, who have the potential to be good. They're going to have some games where they're going to need to be passing a lot. And then also you have to keep in mind what I said about the Chiefs. In order to keep up in the AFC, they're going to still need to want to pass to win games leading up to week 18, assuming that they want to get the 1 seed, assuming that they are in contention for the 1 seed. Now, obviously, all 3 of these are assuming health. You really can't predict injuries, especially to core quarterbacks. There are some, that are a little bit more injury prone than others, but Mahomes and Burrow, they don't take a ton of shots. You're not worried about them like you are a Jalen Hurts or a Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson. So all 3 of these I absolutely love. I definitely recommend locking them in. If you're tailing, comment and let me know. Other than that, again, remember to like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Check out the membership options if you're interested. Thanks for watching, and have a good one.